I don't know what's happening. I'm hoping that we're actually on. My Wi-Fi is going in and out and in and out, and it's been doing it all day today. So I'm hoping that we're able to complete this today. Hi, I'm Janet, and you're here at Fruit of the Vine Art Studio in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I really appreciate you being here with me today. I'd love it if when you hop on, you just say hi, tell me where you're watching from. I love to see all the different places that people happen to actually view this. So anyway, today I'm going to do another little watercolor, and I'm going to use my Arteza watercolor pencils again. I talk about these a lot. I love these pencils. These are actually what I do use when I make my pet portraits. If you've seen any of my pet portraits that I do, I use these particular watercolor pencils. Hey, Steve, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you commenting. Thank you so much. Anyway, I'm going to tilt you down and I'm going to zoom you in, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I've already got it kind of drawn on here for us, and I'm just going to use the pencils and I'm going to show you how they work. Let me scoot you to where you're seeing more of the card. Maybe not quite that close. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, as you can see, I've already got him drawn on here. So basically all we have to do is color him in, and then I'm going to use my fine line detail Lowell Cornell brushes, and we're going to paint and fill him in, color it in. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get coloring. I'm going to start out with a little bit of the yellows here, as we know that he has yellow hair. So I am going to use this sunflower, and then I need a darker yellow. Is this my only yellow? And then I'm going to use this pumpkin, I think. Let me look at this. What is this one? Marmalade, I think, would be too light. Tuscan. We'll use Tuscan. Okay, I'm going to start off with sunflower, and I'm just going to go over his hair area with the sunflower coloring. Now, if you know this character, I have been in love with this character since the 90s. It's one of my absolute favorite video games. The whole series, honestly, the entire series is my favorite video games. I play these quite often, one form or another. And so we're just going to start off with coloring in his hair. And then his hair has a darker area, which is going to be this right in here. So I'm going to use this golden color and just put that. This is the Tuscan sun right here. And it's going to come right along the outside of this area. And along the top of here. Now, I'm not going to be using the black pencil. The black would be on his eyes, but actually for that I am going to be using a Sharpie marker when I get to that particular point. Just for now, we're just going to use this to just darken up some spots right here, just a little bit. Line coming over that way. And that's all we're going to need that for. Put those right here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of my grays. I need a lighter gray and a darker gray. I think space gray is probably going to be my lighter gray. So the lighter gray is going to go on this outside of his little leggings. And then this inside of this area. Now, I know this is just like, oh, where she's just coloring. I'm just trying to show you how we can use colored pencils to create many different things. Now I'm going to be using a darker gray, and that's going to also go right here on his shield behind him. It goes across these two little bars. And then that would also be on his legs. And then that's also this right here where the sword is behind him is going to be this darker gray. It's got a sheath right there behind him as well. All right. I think that's all the gray that we need for right now. We're going to look for a dark brown, dark chocolate brown, or maybe I should use espresso. Let's do the espresso. And then I'm going to need a lighter brown, maybe this burnt ochre. And this dark brown is going to go right here on his belt. I'm not sure if that's going to be the right color. Let me look at this. I'd say this looks more like what I need here. This is yellow ochre. Put that right there. And I need the brown, the darker brown back here. Excuse me. And then I'm going to use a lighter brown, sienna. Sort of a reddish kind of brown, lighter brown than what we used for the sheath itself. And then we're going to use this also here. In this part of his shoe. Go back to the dark brown, dark chocolate. And put the bottom of it on. And this side shaded in this side because of the way he's standing. All right. Now we're ready to get us some of the greens. A light green. Let me see, what are you? Absinthe? I think I'm going to use that for the lightest parts here, which would be this part of his sleeves. And this part right here. And then a little bit darker, not too much darker, but a little bit darker for right in here. And this is mint. Just to show shading on his arm. Right in the inside here. And then we've also got his little area right in here, which is going to be the darker of the two. And then I'm going to need two darker greens. I need a real dark green. So let's see, what do we got here? What are you? Forest green. That sounds right. That sounds exactly like what you would find on Link. Forest green. We're going to use that right here. And let's see, that's also right here. His little hat sticking out here. And this is going to be the darker of my greens, so it's going to go here. Right along through here. And I'm looking here, thinking, where's this going to be dark at down here? I think this is lighter, this is darker. So this is going to be dark right here. Right across here. Just like that. Then we're going to need a still dark, but not quite that dark. We're going to go with, let's see, I think fern. Be a pretty good choice here. Let me see how that looks. That's still pretty dark. Maybe emerald. That's still pretty dark as well, isn't it? Moss green. Basil. Let's try basil. It's a lighter green. Oh wait, that dark green needs to go right in here too, doesn't it? Even though this is pretty dark in itself, but that's okay. Now the only thing left to color is Link himself and the background. Apricot. Don't want pumpkin, I want peach. That's coral. Don't want coral. Where is peach? Here's peach. Peaches and cream. And apricot. So, peaches and cream. His face is going to be darker on this side, so we're going to put this over here. This is the apricot. No, I meant this ear. And then the lighter color. Hoping the pencil doesn't smear too much when I start adding water. Okay, that looks pretty good. The Wind Waker itself is white. So we're just going to put white in here. Don't want to smear that too much. Don't want to smear that too much at all. And then I'm going to use blues. And have a darker edge. You can see I got it taped down, so I'm not too concerned with getting it on the tape here as I just scribble it in. Hey, Mary. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being out there. Hope you're having a great day. We're supposed to have a pretty good day here. Now, tomorrow's supposed to be like 70 degrees. That's like some crazy stuff going on. Doesn't surprise me, though. If you don't like the weather in Cincinnati today, just wait till tomorrow. It'll be totally, totally, totally different. I imagine that's everywhere, and we're not the only ones that says that. You know what I mean? I imagine everybody's weather is crazy every day. I don't know, though. Maybe California has got more. Well, no, they get all them wildfires and all that stuff. I want this to be darker here underneath him. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring that darkness right in here. Right up and along the side. And then I'm going to go with this one, I think. What is this? Peacock blue. Just really scribbling. I guess you can see that, though. I'm going to leave a little ring around him without putting color there, but color will get there as I add the water. Kind of making a ring around his Wind Waker stick. Okay, I'm going to leave these colors out in case I have to go back and add a little bit of this or add a little bit of that. I'm going to get me a drink of coffee. Excuse me. But I'm going to get me a drink of coffee. And then I think I'm going to start right here. Dipping in the water and then touching onto my brush, onto my paper towel, so I don't want big globs of water on here. I'm just going to work on his ear on this lightest area first. With watercolors, you basically work light to dark. Dip back in, and that should have been the darker color here. And I didn't do that. So I'm going to get just a little bit of that apricot by just taking my paintbrush while it's wet and touching. Here, let me show you the pencil itself so I can pick up the darker color. And then just drop it in here. Just like that. I'm going to rinse that off real quick. Touch my paper towel. And go back to working on the lighter beige color, which was peaches and cream. Now right now I know that this really doesn't look like it's doing a lot for the drawing itself by just dragging the water over these little areas. But once we get going here and you start seeing the changes happening, it does make true little watercolor paintings. You activate it with the water on the brush. That'll give him some shading there. Now let's get this little ear. And then we're going to rinse that off. Touch the towel. Start with the lighter half of his finger and then work down to the darker part. I want a little more color on that, so I'm going to get a little more of that apricot. Drop it in. Drop it in. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to just leave it at that right there. Rinse this off. We're going to work on his hair next. Starting with the lighter. And then working it in to that Tuscan gold. Wish I hadn't drawn those lines in with pencil in his hair, but that's okay. I'm going to take my Tuscan gold, put a little more water on the tip of it, let it get a little bit softened. Put it just a little bit heavier on the lines. Which isn't going to make the line disappear. But it's going to help mute it. Mute it just a little bit. I have got a frog in my throat that I cannot seem to get rid of. I don't understand what's going on with it. I'm going to have to, I guess, make an appointment with my doctor because I find myself coughing and trying to clear my throat an awful lot here. Okay, so that's kind of, maybe if I use a little bit darker yellow in his hair, I can pull it a little bit closer together too. What am I got here? Honey. We'll blend a little honey in here. And as I said, I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm going to leave that be. We're just going to leave his hair be. I'm going to move on to his little green sleeves. Bring this dark green, just blend it right in here. And we're just going to move right into this. Rinse that off. Work on right here. This piece right here. I don't know if you guys can see how the colors blend as I paint it, but it stops looking so pencil-y and becomes looking more like a painting as I'm going along here. I don't know if it translates well. I'll go back and watch this and see how it shows. Might have to find a different way of showing you these things, getting you up closer or something, I'm not sure. I try to pull you in as close as I can without making it to where you're not able to see everything that's going on. Like if I'm over here pulling paint off of a pencil and I don't have that in an area where you can see it, then that's not very useful, is it? And I realize that. Right across the bottom here. A little bit darker. Let's get the tip of his hat out here. Work around that little ear. And I think you can see the two differences between the greens. I can see it anyway. From where I'm at, I see it. I hope it shows well for you. All right, now we're going to move on. Go to this little piece of his belt buckle. And right into this brown. This sheath is that same dark brown, so while it's on my pen, or on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and scoot up to there and take care of that. The dark brown is right here on his boots. bottom of this one. Right up the back. Don't want to get too far up though, or it'll mess up his boot. Okay. Tap that off. I'm going to go to this reddish brown here on his shield. Just move it around a little bit. That looks pretty good. Hit the top of this boot, the bottom of the other boot. Give that a little curve so it doesn't look so odd. Bring this up around the top of this foot a little. He's starting to come to life now. He's starting to get a little bit of a better appearance to him. Now I don't want to use this little bitty brush, this detail brush, on the background. Wait a minute, I'm not done yet though, am I? Gotta get this. Lighten that up. Get this right here. And then we'll work on his sword back here. Tip that up, try to pick up a little bit of that, because that's awfully dark. Now we'll use this dark gray that he's got here on his little leggings, on his tights. I guess he doesn't wear leggings, he wears tights, doesn't he? They're leggings, I don't care what you want to call them. Okay, that's pretty good. Rinse off my little brush. He's going to dry a little bit. While he's drying, I'm going to get this other brush here. Maybe I'll use this 1-inch flat brush. Get him wet. Tap some of that off. And I'm just going to scrub with it in this lighter blue area. There goes the phone. Blend this right into it. There's a hair hanging on it. Wipe some of that off. Keep scrubbing. I'm going in small little circles. Bringing it in close to him here. Keeping it dark in this area. Wet my brush, tap it off again. You got to tap it off or that's just going to be too much water. And I'm tapping it off more. When I say tap it off, I'm just doing this on a piece of paper, on a paper towel. Tapping off the excess water, the excess paint, whatever happens to be hanging on there. Getting a little close to him. I don't want to get too close to him. But I want to blend this pretty well. Tap it off. Look, there went my paper towel. Come back here. He's got the wind flying all around and behind him. It's kicking up a storm. Which is really what he does in the game. Just got one little area to work on down here between his feet. And I'm just going to pull that along. Get that cocoa hair out of here. Okay. That's looking pretty good to me. I think that that's probably got the look that I want to have for it here. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rinse this off. It's going to look a little wacky, but it's going to dry and you're not going to see it. I'm going to take my glue stick. And I'm going to put... Is this glue stick the one that doesn't work? Ah, shoot, Janet, what in the heck? No, let me get my glue stick. I'm going to take my glue stick, now that I've got it. And I'm just going to put some glue right around. Don't want that big old hunk on there. I'm going to put my glue stick just right around here in some spots. And then kind of have it coming across. Just a little bit like this. Coming out this way a little bit down. And a little bit up. And then I'm going to get my Spectra Glitter. And I'm going to give his Now I know right now it looks funny and it's purple, but once that dries, you're not going to see the purple. I'm going to add a little bit extra to him here. Press it down a little bit in some spots because I want it to stay there. Going across him. And I'll tell you, you use glitter and you know how it is, man. It ends up everywhere. Everywhere. Anyway, here's the big reveal. We're going to pull it off right here. Once that glue dries, I will post a picture of it so that the purple's not showing. You'll see exactly what I mean. It's got to dry first. Oh, we're not done. I'm just going to get this out of the way for a moment here. I've got to turn him in my direction in order to finish this. So I'm just going to pick this up. And then I'm going to use this piece of paper right here. Knock the extra off. Dump it right back in. That way I don't waste a bunch of it. I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to get my Sharpie and I'm going to work on him. Got to do his eyes and his eyebrows. It is odd that Link has black eyebrows with his pretty blonde hair, but he does. Through here. Leave a little spot of white in his eyes. His eyes don't go all the way to the edge. They leave a little white spot on each end of it. His nose is nothing more than a triangle. And his mouth is wider on one side. He's got little elf ears. Right there. We'll outline his hair right here. You'll see how the outlining is really going to make this pop. Bring this character to life. Well, as life as a cartoon character is ever going to be, I guess. He's a cartoon. He's a cartoon. Here, up there. Let's do his face. Shirt. Add a few lines back in there on it. Belt. Put a few little jags so that it looks like the wind is blowing him. His little hand sticking up. We got to work on his hat. Trying to make sure I'm keeping him in your view. A few little jags on his hat as well to make it look like that wind's blowing. He's got his sword back here. Draw those little lines there. Work on his shield a little bit. And it's made out of wood, so it's got a couple of little wood lines going through it back here. And then there's the sheath. Up right there. We got to do his feet. And let's see, we got to do the wind. Waker. Coming out of his hand. And now the glue is all dried. Can you see how the wind, this Wind Waker stick is, there we go. A watercolor Wind Waker. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I will see you again on Wednesday. Have a great week. Bye now.